Hello, students. Welcome to our lesson on learners with exceptionalities. So, last meeting we have discussed about the different learning thinking styles and multiple intelligences. So, this time in this module, in this lesson, you will challenge yourselves to describe who are these exceptional learners. And what do we mean by exceptionalities? All right. And we are reminded that when it comes to learning, there are no boundaries. Learning knows no bounds. So I'll be with you for this topic. I hope that you will listen, you will watch, and you'll enjoy. All right. So you will be guided by the following objectives: demonstrate understanding about learners with exceptionalities, including the basic categories and appropriate terminologies through interactive discussion. So there will be questions and statements that you need to complete. You have to uh, you have to complete the statement. You have to answer the questions. So that is to prove, to check if you have watched this video. The second objective, that you can present concrete strategies which are responsive to exceptional students. And lastly, that you can demonstrate knowledge and understanding of differentiated teaching to suit the learners with exceptionalities through a portrait slogan. So I believe that you are ready. Okay, these are the beginning teachers indicators. 1.1.1, demonstrate content knowledge and its application within and or across curriculum teaching areas. Demonstrate knowledge and understanding of differentiated teaching to suit the learner's gender needs, strengths, interests, and experiences. Use strategies responsive to learners with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. Demonstrate understanding of the special educational needs of learners in difficult circumstances, including geographic isolation, chronic illness, displacement due to armed conflict, urban resettlement or disasters, child abuse, and child labor practices. So we are reminded by teacher Deb, fairness isn't about treating everyone the same. It's giving everyone what they need. I would like you to key in your thoughts about this statement, about this quote. Fairness isn't about treating everyone the same. It's giving everyone what they need. Just one sentence will do. What is your, if you agree or you disagree, what is your thought? All right. So, questions for discussion. What are the three-tier terms according to World Health Organization? Who are the exceptional learners? When do we consider the learner to be exceptional? I want you to answer these questions as soon as you find out the answers. Just comment your answers in the comment section. What are the three-tier terms according to the World Health Organization? Who are the exceptional learners? And when do we consider the learner to be exceptional? All right. So let us unlock terms. First, we will describe impairment. What is impairment? It is defined as a loss or abnormality of psychological, physiological, or anatomical structure or function intrinsic to the individual. When the individual with an impairment was expected to carry out regular or routine tasks that relied on the use of skills or knowledge in the areas affected by the impairment. So it's physical, it's a loss of limb, someone who is uh, cannot see, blind, no, that's an impairment, a loss of a hand. So when uh, when you have that incomplete body parts, so you have an impairment, physical impairment. So for example, if you will lose a leg due to accident, that will lead you to a disability. So the inability to walk is the disability. Okay? So measurable disability is a measurable impairment or limitation that interferes with a person's ability. For example, to walk, lift. So the disability is the ability to lift if the impairment is a loss of an arm or a hand. Okay? To hear or learn. It may refer to a physical, sensory, or mental condition. And the third one is handicap. So, handicap is a disadvantage that occurs as a result of a disability. That's why it's a three-tier because it's levels. So you have the impairment, which will lead you to disability and to being a handicap, to have an to have a handicap. So disability has become more accepted and used, replacing handicap. So in USA, disability is used in its federal laws such as Individuals with Disabilities Act. It's IDEA. In the Philippine Constitution, we have Article 14, Section 2, provide adult citizens, the disabled, and out-of-school youth with training. So even those persons with disability, even those with impairment should be provided with training. That's according to our Philippine Constitution, Article 14, Section 2. Now, let's talk about exceptional learners. We have to unlock the term again. Who are these exceptional learners? So these are learners who are different from normal or average. So the term exceptional includes those with special needs related to cognitive abilities, behavior, social functioning, physical and sensory impairments, emotional disturbances, and giftedness. So most of these learners, the exceptional learners, require a lot of understanding and patience as well as special education and related services if they are to reach their full potential of development. So that's why we have special education curriculum, and there are also universities in the Philippines who are offering a special education as a major course, no? A major course. So when we speak of exceptionalities again, they are categorized into learning disabilities, mental retardation, sensory impairments, physical disabilities and health impairments, autism, emotional and behavioral disorders. So these are the types of exceptionalities. So, or the categories of exceptionalities according to Omrod's Educational Psychology in the year 2000. So, what are these categories of exceptionalities? First, the cognitive or academic faculties. So, cognitive. So, students with cognitive or academic difficulties. So, what are the disabilities of the students, the learning disabilities of the students? Comprise the largest single category of students with special needs. So, it's a learning disabilities. Students comprise the largest single category of students with special needs, those with cognitive or academic difficulties. Students with these exceptionalities have average or above average IQ but specific deficiencies. They may have difficulty sustaining attention. They have they may have poor reading skills. They may have ineffective learning or memory strategies, difficulty with tasks involving abstract reasoning, low motivation or poor self-concept, have poor motor skills but not always, and poor social skills but also not always. So students with academic academic difficulties or cognitive cognitive, so the learning disabilities. So teaching students with emotional or behavioral disorders. So students with emotional or behavioral disorders can participate in a variety of educational settings with appropriate accommodations. Strategies for improving reading skills, peer tutoring. So they need to be tutored by the friends, their their peers, the more knowledgeable other, the MKO, no, the ZPD. So we can also have the strategy, the story mapping, modeling, repeated readings, and strategies for improving study skills. Uh, the use of mnemonics. Mnemonics. Do you use this in your study strategy, in your strategy during the midterm exams, so that you can easily understand the concepts? Use mnemonics. The learning strategies. So how about the physical disabilities and health impairments? So physical and health impairments. This involves physical or medical conditions, usually long term, including limited energy and strength, reduced mental alertness, and or little muscle control. So children with physical disabilities and health conditions who require special education are served under two IDEA disability categories. So we have the orthopedic impairments, including the neuromotor impairment and other health impairments. Other health impairments. So the sensory impairment is when one of your senses, the sense of sight, the sense of hearing, sense of smell, sense of touch, sense of taste, and spatial awareness is no longer normal. So sensory impairment. Of course, you have your schoolmates, no, whom you know with uh, this impairment, sensory impairment. But for example, we have our our own graduate, Miss Manalo. But even with her sensory impairment, it did not stop her to succeed, and he came out victorious. She even she even graduated summa cum laude, magna cum laude. When a child demonstrates advanced cognitive abilities, that does not mean that they are emotionally mature enough to manage the information they are able to access. For example, a young child who can read at an advanced level is not necessarily mature enough to read books intended for older children. So we have to strategize, still we have to align the content to the age of the learner, of our learners. So the content must not be beyond their ability to process emotionally. It should be within their emotional development. Even if their deve- reading skill is of advanced level. So uh, students with learning disabilities are not retarded. They are not slow learners. They are not lazy. They're not incapable. They're not looking for excuses. They're not getting away with something. They're not bringing other students down. They are not dumb. Take note of this. It is quite easy to fall into the trap of focusing on the weaknesses of special needs students, of students with special needs, because there are also learners with exceptionalities who are gifted. No? So, giftedness. So, when we speak of giftedness, this involves a significantly high level of cognitive development. So there is an unusually high ability or aptitude in one or more of these aspects. The intellectual ability, the aptitude in academic subjects, creativity, visual or performing arts, or leadership. That's why. So, yet it is vitally important that you be aware of and seek to identify the individual strengths of each and every student in your classroom. In our classroom as teachers. It is a challenge. It is part of our responsibility. Be aware of the strengths, identify the strengths of the learners. Next, we help students understand that grading, evaluation, and assessment is based on identifiable objectives in accordance with individual potential. Evaluation should not be coupled with the limitations of students, but rather to their expectations. So it should not be coupled with the limitations, but rather to their expectations. Of course, we want them to excel, to develop, to learn, not to bring our students down. Provide significant opportunities for students of all abilities to learn from each other. Structure a variety of learning activities in which the social climate of the classroom is both promoted and enhanced. It is important that everyone feels like he or she is contributing. So, the value of fairness, the value of equality, the value of family spirit. Do not make inappropriate assumptions based on students' exceptionalities. For example, don't assume that a student who is confined to a wheelchair is an unhappy child. Oh, don't assume that a learning disabled student, that a student with a learning disability is not gifted in visual arts. Also, don't assume that children with disabilities are disabled in all areas. Again, we have our example, which I already named earlier. So, do not make inappropriate assumptions because learners with exceptionalities are exceptional. They can excel beyond their limitations, just like any learners, just like you. Be aware that special needs students may not want to be singled out for any special treatment. To do so may identify their disability for other students and cause them to receive some form of attention they may not be able to handle. Ensure that your attitude and responses to special needs students are identical to those to other students. View all students as contributing students. Consider learning over a long period of time. Special students with special needs may require extended periods of time to master a concept or learn a specific skill. You may need to repeat information several times and reinforce it in many ways. Okay, and before I will uh, ask for your learning for this session, for this lesson, another point that I would like to tell you, to remind you about exceptional learners. We have this language, we call it people first language, so which you can find in your book, no, page 74, for those with books. So when we speak of people first language, it means that we have to avoid generic labels. Okay, so example, people with mental retardation is preferable to the mentally retarded. So we begin with the people, we begin with the person. So people first language, we emphasize the ability, not the limitation. We avoid euphemism. We avoid implying illness or suffering. So avoiding euphemisms such as physically challenged, which are regarded as condescending, and avoid the real issues that result from a disability. And also avoid implying illness or suffering. So had polio is preferable to is a polio victim. Mm. So and has multiple sclerosis is preferable to suffers from multiple sclerosis. So using people first language is important in dealing with our learners with exceptionalities. So how can you advocate for people first language in your classroom, especially when you refer to learners with exceptionalities? When you surf the internet, how will you advocate? How will you advocate uh, the people first language in addressing students with exceptionalities? All right. So for your portrait slogan, so you have to come up with a portrait slogan on accommodating learners with exceptionalities in the teaching learning process. So you have to include the terms EDPAC 101 and start with we, so in your slogan. So indicate your names and signatures in your output for proprietorship. The criteria, you will be for you to be guided with your output. A relevance to the theme 50%, creativity and originality 50%. So you have to work with your pair. You have to work with your pair for the portrait slogan. So you scan, take a picture. It can be digital uh, as long as you have your names, and if you can have your signature flash, it's okay. If it's digital, then that's okay, as long as you have your names and signatures for proprietorship. So we have answers to the questions earlier. Please comment down and be reminded that we are all wonderfully made.